Thank you.
A mom giving her son a future,
Tuition help!
a few dollars at a time.
All right, well, it's Tuesday and time once again for Biz Buzz with business strategist Amy K. Today we're talking startups with a man some consider one of San Diego's most bankable entrepreneurs. Amy K. joins us today, along with internet technology expert Jon Carder, founder and chief mojo of mojopages.com, right? I love that, Chief Mojo.
Got to have a little fun with the titles.
It's true. That'd be a great title to have.
I love that show, Chief Mojo.
Exactly. All right, so when you say those two words, startup, in this economy, a lot of people may kind of tilt their head, look at you a little weird. You say they're wrong.
I say it's an adventure. Being an entrepreneur is an absolute adventure with those exciting highs and those nerve-wracking lows. But Jon has that incredible adventure spirit in him and has learned a lot of lessons along the way. And I think that's what makes Startup Mode successful, is when you take a lesson and you apply it to the next opportunity.
Yeah, and Jon, you're only 31. You've just started, well, I shouldn't say just started. 3 years ago, you started your third company, mojopages.com. How do you, and you just completed a couple years ago the sale, multi-million-dollar sale of your last company. What's your secret? How do you do it?
Well, I think there's no one secret that can solve and help you build a great company, but there's three that I kind of live by, and the first one is focus. You've always got to stay focused on one thing and do it better than anybody else, because if you try to kind of diversify your interests, you'll become too spread thin and you won't beat the competition.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that we always joke that diversification is great for investing, but it can be the death of an entrepreneur. And when you lose focus and you go away from your core area of knowledge, your core area of expertise, if you're not prepared, it can be the death trap.
And one of the keys we see on the screen is, those are your 3 L's, right?
Yes. Oh, leverage, leverage, leverage. Instead of location, location, location in real estate, for an entrepreneur, it's leverage, leverage, leverage. I mean, every business has its own set of challenges, but for startup mode, especially the entrepreneur that's in startup mode, we have 3 that we find that are very common. One of them is lack of resources, often lack of financial resources. You've got lack of contacts in your own network when you're new, and you have a lack of knowledge. And it's usually because you followed your passion, but you don't know everything that you're supposed to know about starting a business. And you've got a great story about how you leveraged your very first company.
Oh, it's true. I mean, even when I started my first internet business, I didn't even have a computer. So I would go over to my friend's house and use his. And ever since that first day, I've always kind of, used other people's assets, combined them with my assets to build a great business, because you don't have a lot when you're starting up.
And you didn't have a computer, and we should mention this is important. It was an internet-based company,
yes.
Right? How does that work?
In fact, I'd barely been on the internet.
And that's actually being willing to reach out. I mean, we say surround yourself with really smart people. Own your own ignorance. Identify what you're really good at, but then also identify, hey, how can I get support? Here's a brilliant guy with an internet idea and no computer. Well, he's an expert on when it comes to technology, but he had limited resources. So he reached out and asked for help.
And you also say fail fast and cheap. What do you mean?
Fail fast. We all make mistakes. I think that's part of the reason that entrepreneurs take risks. Well, not all risks work out, but you have to be willing to give it up quickly. And Jon, you've got a great story when you did that.
Yeah, well, I think, as entrepreneurs, it comes back to the focusing. When you're doing just one thing and you're doing it better than anybody else, you're focused on that one thing. Sometimes it doesn't work out. And you have to be willing to kind of just put a bullet in it and say goodbye and start on the next one, and just continue to do that until you find the one that finally works. I mean, at Mojo Pages, it's been 3 years, and just recently we raised our Series A financing for about $5 million. But it took us 3 years and probably 10 unique ideas of how to market the business until we finally hit one that worked. And then now we're off to the races.
Where do you get your ideas for businesses, for new businesses?
That's a great question. I love to just have some downtime. I like to read magazines and books, and sometimes ideas will be sparked there. Also studying the competition. Don't be afraid to look at them, and when they come up with a great idea and they gain some traction, jump into that boat and use their ideas as well. And sometimes it's a combination of the competition's best ideas with some of your own creativity on it that make for a great business.
All right, and if people want to learn more about you, where can they go?
They can go to joncarder.com. They can follow me. It's kind of like a blog, but it also takes my tweets, and it's kind of like a live stream of everything that I'm doing along the journey.
Jon Carder, that's Jon and then Carder,
That's right.
All right,
D as in
spelled
David.
.com. All right, and Amy K, 858-484-2695, or contact us at amyk.com if you want to be a guest on the program, BizBuzz, or you could Twitter at
Absolutely.
Amy K Inc. All right, guys, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Amy
Thanks
K
for
and
having us.
Jon Carder, Chief Mojo. I love that. I want that title.
Start your own company.
That's what I got to do. I'll talk to you after the show. All right, and for more information, go to our website, san-diego6.com. Well, with one shopping trip, she can take you from a hot mess to just plain hot. We're going to sit down with a personal shopper to get great wardrobe guidelines for girls and guys. Stick around. Philip, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Doing good, man. So we got the new computers in.
Yep. Do you guys like them?
I haven't used it yet.